by the very uncertain nature of events, something's always bound to go wrong. The larger the event, the more likelihood that something goes wrong. Something with the venue, with staff, volunteers, talents that you bring, the customers that you bring together, the weather. There's so many moving parts, so many uncertainties that are at play that something can and will most often go wrong. And it is for this environment that we're building a software that allows you to better keep up with these changes and communicate any changes with anybody involved. So naturally, we got very curious about what research has to say about working in such environments. And that's where we found this publication from Tom Sefranks and Mario van Hoek, and looked at best practices for projects that are resource constrained and in uncertain environments. And I think they provide a really interesting framework that I want to share with you in this video. So let's get started. They start with the problem formulation, and it's very straightforward. They're saying that deterministic plans fail to capture the inherent complexity of real-world scenarios. So deterministic plans is simply the single path. You know, in a spreadsheet, you write your program top down in a very orderly way, and that is just not a adaptable framework that matches the event reality as we see it. So there's a lot of problems that comes with updating these schedules, communicating them on all the different places. And often, because we work on spreadsheets, this work has to be done manual and controlled by a single person, which is going to be the main thing I'm going to return back to at the end of the video. But what they're suggesting is we need a better way of going about it, a different solution that allows us to better adapt to this uncertain environment. And the proposed concept is that you want to consider the event as a series of interlinked sets of smaller work packages. And basically, you take all the different activities that needs to happen, chunk them into small schedule, and then bundle these schedules into specific work packages. For each work package, you want to see if you can build in contingency schedules, meaning alternative ways of achieving the same objective. So as a strategy, and step one is that you want to understand which work packages has to go through fixed activities, the terminology they use. I like in terms of events, consider it as a fixed schedule, where this has to happen in a certain way. There are no options. For example, you can only be in one venue. You can't choose different venues. You have to only use a certain ticketing provider because of the contracts and agreements or partners or whatnot. Or there's certain there's limitation on who you bring, what time of the year you have it. So the things that are fixed, you label that work package as fixed, right? And then, of course, the opposite is that you have work packages that provides alternative activities or alternative schedules, like how I would call it for event industry, where you have an objective, but you can already think of multiple ways of achieving that objective. So you build in contingency, meaning you build in backup plans into your solution ahead of time and actually list them down in a visual way. And this allows you to pay attention and keep track of dependencies. And they propose two types of dependencies. One is nested alternatives. A nested alternative means basically that it provides all those backup ways for you to achieve the same objective. Or you might not even need to think of them as backups. They are just different alternative ways of achieving the same thing. And you will make the decision closer to the point where you need to make that final decision. So when you start mapping out the different approaches, and then you have decision nodes where, okay, now we need to make a decision about these different options that are provided. So when you have options within the same work package, you call that a nested alternative. Then when one of these alternatives have downstream effects, meaning they impact something further later in the process, you want to make sure you link these together, because then you know if I choose this pathway here, that's going to affect what's happening there. You can think of it as the following. You want to make a decision between what type of catering you want to offer: buffet style catering or box style catering, or no catering and have people just go to the city and each person find the restaurants they want for buying their lunch or dinner or whatnot, and then come back. And that could be contained within the same work package and be done with it like that. But let's say right after this work package, there is networking section. You can already sort of assume that different one of these options will have different impact on the likelihood of the networking section run on the right time, right? Getting the dinner in ready-made boxes that are quickly handed out by a bunch of volunteers probably can control time in a much better way. So people quickly get their food, they eat it, and they're ready for the next session. If you offer buffet, you'll have a little bit more risk of eating into your networking time, pun intended. Or if you send them off to the city, you're guaranteed that it's going to be delayed for the networking session. So you want to draw linked alternatives from your catering choices to the, for example, the networking choice. So let me visualize this. They provided in the paper a nice 2x2 matrix that you can combine with these different options and how to think about each scenario. Here, I will put the link to the publication in the show notes, but here I want to just give you an example that is based on their quadrant in their matrix that dealt with both nested and linked alternatives. Obviously, this is translated to the event industry. So imagine you're planning a TEDx conference and you're at this phase where you need to decide between what kind of venue do you want to have. Do you want to have a fancier full service venue or a budget-friendly venue? This is not yet what they call a nested alternative. This is just two different options that you're taking. But if you go for the budget-friendly venue, here comes your first nested alternative. As an example, what kind of catering solution do you want to offer? A buffet or a box sort of dinner solution where everybody has pre-prepared meals that are handed out? Once you have made this decision, then all the arrows converge back to update your budget and marketing because of the decisions you made, and then move into the next one. The next one might obviously be influenced by which of these choices you make. So if you prepare these ahead of time, you're not yet sure at the time of making this plan, you don't know which one you have gone for. So you want to map out both of them to see how things will evolve. If you have gone for the budget one, you know you need to bring your own audiovisual team, you need to rent all the equipment, and you need to transport them to the venue. If you use a full service solution, they have an in-house audiovisual team. And because you want to do some special effects, you might decide that you still want to rent some equipment that you ask them to help you with. And no matter which option you do, actually both of the paths lead to a quality control before we are ready for the stage rehearsal with the speakers, for example. So here what you've done is you draw a linked alternative between the choice of running a full service venue with the option of you might need to still rent some equipment because of other decisions around what kind of conditions or decoration you want to set up on the stage, right? So I think the greatest power of this concept is that as an experienced event organizer, you probably built a lot of intuition around these factors. And we carry this a lot in our mind. I've run events for 20 years as well. So I took a lot of pride in my ability to be able to be pretty good at it. The main problem comes that as our events getting bigger and bigger, and as more risk is on the table because the budgets are higher, the stakes are higher, then it becomes harder and harder to work with new team members or delegate to junior team members because it becomes too dangerous for the sake of the project to allow our team to fail forward, which means as organizers, we start getting a tighter and tighter control over the project and don't dare anything slip our attention. So we become a very hard bottleneck for our projects, which both make it harder for this project, or definitely it becomes very hard for us as organizers because we work our butt off, so to say, before and during and after the event because we have to be the one who knows everything. But also it prevents us to be able to onboard new clients because we simply cannot take on more project and more work. We're already at our max. So a strategy like this, what sort of caught my attention is that you can build playbooks. If you just have a solution that can convert your existing schedules or your future schedules into such visualizations, you have playbooks that you can better communicate with your team, and even junior team members can then have a much clearer understanding of consequences of decisions, consequences of delays, and be able to avoid especially the mistakes you would have avoided because of your experience. So this is actually something I'm very excited about and also the starting point of why this particular journal caught our attention is that the way to think about schedules and breaking all your schedules down to very small units and bundle them together into schedule sets is exactly how we built our software. So I'm very curious if this is something that you think could be powerful and would be interested in to see in a software. So this is me reaching out for your thoughts and experience and advice to let us know if would this be valuable for you. Should we build such an interface where you can easily see your schedules visualized like this, so you can see the dependencies and being able to chunk them in such a way that you can outsource parts of the work to junior team members without risking that everything collapse, so to say, because they have a better overview and understanding for the consequences of their decision. Let me know in either way you prefer, comment, DM, schedule a digital coffee. I would love to know. By the way, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, because I'm already working on the next video where I'm going to share what the research has to say about introducing more robustness into your projects, where you have the ability to deliver on your objectives no matter the uncertain circumstances we are in. All right. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.